Hello everyone. Life's a precious gift given to us from God, isn't it? But when we face setbacks in life, it often leaves us with conditions such as depression, anxiety, heartbreak, and fears. How do we deal with it? And how badly it affects our progress? Now, when you're in depression, everything that you do in your day to day life becomes harder for you, becomes a task for you, even the smallest things. And it stops you from progressing. It stops you from all the things that you want to achieve in your life. It holds you back. And even your relationships become harder, your life becomes a mess, and you just don't know how to deal with it. And that's when you need the life coaches. Life coaches help you to become the best version of yourself, to bounce back and restart your life, and to live at your highest potential. Now, the word coach, where does it come from? It was first used in 1830 in Oxford University. And it was used as a slang for a tutor or a trainer who would carry a student through an exam. Now, life coach in particular was first came into existence, I would say, by Thomas Leonard as a business in 1980. He was said to be the first person who took the life coaching as a business. Now, when we talk about life coaching, all of the coaches mostly use NLP. Now, they don't only use NLP for themselves, but for the people who they're working with. Now, no matter if you want a better relationship, if you're an executive, if you're a business person, you can use NLP. NLP is basically a set of techniques very effective for you to reach your highest potential and achieve anything that you want to. Now, what is NLP? NLP is neuro-linguistics programming. It is how you program your neurology through your linguistics, both verbal and non-verbal. Now, NLP was first founded as a science in 1970 by Richard Bandler, who was a student in the University of California, and John Grinder, who was a professor in linguistics. They both studied some of the best therapists in that era, and they started with a set of beliefs. Like these therapists were changing the lives of people, transforming the lives of people in an amazing way, and people were able to produce better results. They were helping people and helping them to transform their lives, and they were using some really amazing and effective techniques. So they decided, so Richard Bandler and John Grinder decided to study the brains of these therapists. And they came up with a belief that if these people can help people transform people and produce some amazing results, then if they are using their mind in a different manner, in a certain strategic way, then if they can do it, then anybody can do it. So they came up with the belief, and that's when NLP as a science was founded. Now, my dear friends, that was a lot of information. I'd like to make a point here. How many of you actually believe that life coaching in NLP only existed a few decades ago? At least I don't. And the reason why I don't believe it is because when we look back into the time, when we go into the ancient teachings of our Mahan Santa, who was in the Indian culture, who are our heritage, when we look into their teachings, we would understand that NLP or even life coaching as a science, as a subject, or as a business, it did not existed just a few decades ago, but it existed way before than we can think. For an example, how many of you have heard about Ashtavakra or Ashtavakra Gita? If you've heard about Ashtavakra or Ashtavakra Gita, that's great. And if you don't know, I'd like to introduce Ashtavakra. Now, Ashtavakra was a cursed child. Yes, he was a cursed child. When he was in the womb of his mother, he said that the mantra his mother was chanting was not right. And his father got angry, and his father said that the way your mind is very dysfunctioned, I want your body to be the same. And the moment he was born, he had 8 bends all over his body and 8 types of curves all over his body. And that is why he was named Ashtavakra. And whenever anybody would look at him, his body looked quite dysfunctional and ugly. Yes. One day, when Raja Janaka was lost and wanting emotional enlightenment, he was lost and did not know who to go for help. Then he called up all the people of his village and asked if there is anyone who could help me emotionally to enlighten myself and to achieve my highest goal in life. And that's when Ashtavakra raised his hand. But the moment he raised his hand, everybody around him started laughing at him. By the way he looked, people made remarks on him, ugly, petty remarks on him. And Ashtavakra said that all the people who started laughing at him, they are all chamars. This is what he replied to them. And why he called them chamars? Because they were looking at his skin, chamri, because he was so ugly and his skin was black, and people were judging him that how can a person like this can give some great teachings to the king? How can a person like that can do such great things? And that's when you need to know people, that any life coach with big institutions or with amazing communication or a language skill cannot be the person that you want to rely on. You need to look at the larger picture. You need to look for the coaches who don't bind life coaching or NLP as a technique or a subject. Now, for another example, I'd like to take is of Valmiki. How many of you heard about Valmiki? That's the same Valmiki I'm talking about who wrote the Ramayana, way before when even Lord Rama itself was born. Now, Valmiki was not his actual name. His real name was Ratnakara when he was born. And he was born in a family of hunters. And he started looting people and killing people one day when he was not having food in his home. And his kids and his wife was asking for food. And he was not in a great sense of mind. And he went out, he started killing people, he started looting people. That was Ratnakara. And then he met, one day while hunting, he met a great saint. That was Narada. Narada, my dear friend, he asked a question to Ratnakara. Why are you killing people? Why are you killing people? Why are you looting them? For who you are doing it all? And that's when Valmiki replied that I want to feed my children. I want to feed my wife. They're all waiting for me so that I can go and feed them, bring some money and feed them. Then, my dear friend, Narada asked him another question. And that question indeed was a transformation for him. You can call it a technique or anything that you want to. He asked him, will your wife and will your children be equally responsible for all of your bad karmas that you're doing? He then told Ratnakara to go back home and ask. Ratnakara does the same. He goes back home and asks his wife and his children, will you all be equally responsible for all the bad karmas that I'm doing right now, for all of you? And the answer he got was no. Nobody was responsible for all of the bad karma he was doing. They all denied. And that's when he came into realization that all of the things that I was doing for my family, killing people and looting people, they were not equally responsible for all of his karmas. And then he understood where he was wrong. And that's when he went to the anthill, and his name became Valmiki after many years of tapasya. And that was the teaching that indeed transformed his life. So my dear friends, think about it. I want you all to think about it. Do you want life coaches who just take it as a science or a study and bind it in time like that? There is so much more knowledge, so much to learn from all the ancient teachings, from all the saints that who has given us. And there is a book that I was reading a few days ago. It was from a writer called Robin Sharma. One of his books called Who Will Cry When You'll Die. In his very first chapter, in the very first line, he wrote that when my father died, he told me that when you were born, the whole world rejoiced, my son. I want you to do something that when you die, you rejoice and the whole world cries. Do you really think that it came only in the decade? Really think that it came from only his father's decade? Or it was way before than you think it was? How many of you have heard about Kabira? Yes. How many of you heard about a doha which said, Kabira jag mein aaye, jag hase hum roye, करनी ऐसी कर चलो हम हंसे जग रोए. Now, I want you to think how many of us still actually believe that it is just a game of a few decades. I really want you to understand this, and I really want you to understand that there is still an ocean of knowledge, still an ocean of techniques that we want to understand, and we would want to go and look back to the teachings of our spiritual gurus and our saints that has given us. And my dear friend, when we will go back into that, we would understand that we had so much that we try to look outside. And for knowing more such techniques that I'd like to share with you, that I'd like to put some light upon on certain issues or on certain discussions on the certain phases of life and on the certain issues that we face in life, I'd like to put my inputs on that. And if you want to know, you can comment down below of any of your issue that you want me to put up and make a video about it and put my insights on it. Then that would be great, and I'll be making a lot of more videos on YouTube. So thank you for joining me, and if you like my video, you can like this video with a big thumbs up down below and subscribe to my channel, and I'll see you guys with a lot more interesting videos.